Well, for more on Trump's trip to Asia, I'm joined now by Dean Cheng. He's a senior research fellow for East Asian Studies at the Heritage Foundation, a conservative think tank in Washington, D.C. Dean, thanks for being with us. Trump is heading to Asia for the first time, and that includes a stop to China, where he'll be pursuing both his trade policy and trying to drum up support for his North Korea policy. Speaking very broadly, I know China is a big country, but how is Trump viewed there?
I think that Donald Trump constitutes quite the enigma for the Chinese leadership. He is not a politician by background and training, so he doesn't fit the typical patterns. He has long been a businessman, so I suspect that there are certain folks in Hong Kong and perhaps even in China itself who have dealt with him on a business level. But as a result, dealing with him on strategic issues, whether it's about North Korea or the South China Sea, is something that the Chinese simply just don't have much experience with. And I suspect that they are busily trying to figure out where he's going to come down.
Trump is going to be looking for China's support when it comes to putting pressure on North Korea to limit their nuclear program. What specifically is he going to be looking to get out of China on this trip?
Well, what we've already seen this administration do is impose secondary sanctions on key banks and businesses that are doing business with North Korea. So I suspect that he's going to probably push for further clampdowns. North Korea also accesses the global internet largely through largely through China's internet and cable structure. So it's possible that he may also push to have China clamp down on North Korea's ability to access the global internet.
What about China? What are they going to want? It's not every day the U.S. president comes to town. What's their agenda here?
Well, I think one of the most important things is they would like to figure out, is Mr. Trump going to work on imposing tariffs and sanctions on Chinese products? The U.S. is one of the key economic partners for China. And what can China do to avoid that, whether it's making some concessions in areas such as steel or promising to pay better attention to things like protecting intellectual property rights? They would also, of course, dearly love to get a clarification on America's position on Taiwan under the Trump administration and also on the South China Sea.
All right. There seems to be friction between Trump and his own State Department when it comes to the issue of North Korea. We've seen Secretary of State Rex Tillerson at times making statements that appear to contradict the president's views. Tillerson is traveling with Trump to Asia, as far as we know. At this time, is there any indication that they're not on the same page?
Well, I think that one of the things that is going on here in D.C. is everyone is also trying to figure out where Donald Trump comes down, and second of all, who may or may not be in and who may or may not be out in this administration. The reality, of course, is that if the president really truly disagreed with Mr. Tillerson, he could always fire him like he did so many people on The Apprentice.
Looking at Trump's trip, he's going to 5 countries. What is going to constitute for Trump a successful tour of Asia? Well,
I think that if he can get across the following messages, that the U.S. commitment to its allies is firm, that the U.S. is going to remain engaged in Asia, not just military-wise, but also economically, and if he can get some measure of cooperation from key allies as well as China regarding North Korea, all of those are, I think, aspects that the administration would very much like to achieve. For Asia, I think what they would like to hear also is that the United States is going to remain committed, and that various past statements by the president about, for example, that maybe our commitment isn't as strong, are no longer going to be the case in the coming 3.5 years.
All right, he's got his work cut out for him. That is Dean Cheng. He's a senior research fellow with the Heritage Foundation. Thanks for being with us on DW News.